Welcome to another Narc Survivor live video. In this one, we're going to be discussing what makes a narcissist so mad at you. What is it that really gets under their skin? Why do they play the victim? Why do they rage? Why do they throw tantrums? Is it that maybe they just are a victim? Maybe something has been done to them. Maybe they've been wronged in some sort of way. Maybe they're upset about something. What could it be? Why are they so mad at you? What have you done wrong? What have you said? What has hurt them? Or is it someone or something else, and are they just coming around and taking it out on you? What's really going on there? Well, that's what we're going to be talking about in this video. We're going to be discussing why the narcissist is so mad at you. And by the end of this video, it's all going to be perfectly clear to you. You're going to understand the reasons why they're so mad, the reasons why they rage, the reason why they throw tantrums. Because of course, when you're dealing with a narcissist, they like to make it all very confusing, very unclear, as though there is no real answer, there is no real solution other than just total submission, where they have total power and control over you. Because that's really their end goal. That's really their desired outcome. That's really what they want to get from you. Because of course that is very valuable to them. You are a very valuable person. And yet they do not want you to know that. Because just by you having the awareness of that, you immediately take back your power. And you realize that this person is really not qualified, it's not warranted for them to have any sort of power over you. That's the conclusion that you would come to. And that's why they want to make everything unclear, confusing. But yeah, I'm here to shed some light on this topic. I'm here to reveal to you why they're so mad, why they rage, why they throw tantrums, why they lash out at you. I'm here to explain to you the reasons why. So the first one is, you see through their lies and manipulations. You see through what they're trying to do. And what are they trying to do? They're trying to manipulate your emotions. They're trying to lie to you. They're trying to get something past you that otherwise you would know about, you would notice, you would see through it. And so that's the purpose of the manipulation, is to get you to see them differently from who and how they actually are. So they want you to view them in a very specific way so that they get the desired reaction from you, and then to make them feel the way that they want to feel in that moment to compensate for how they were feeling before they manipulated your emotions. And this is why it causes them so much anguish, frustration, when you see through their lies and manipulations. Because then they can't get that desired reaction from you. And they can't use that reaction to compensate for how they really feel about themselves deep down inside. So essentially, when they're unable to manipulate you, when they're unable to lie to you, they start to experience more authentic emotions to themselves. They start to feel how they really feel, rather than how they want to feel in that moment, how they would feel if they could just bait you, hook you into something. Because that's just it. It's all about getting you on the same wavelength that they are on, and how they're feeling about themselves. They just want to get rid of it and put it onto you. Because in that moment, just you being you, you're making them feel like something is wrong with them, like they're not good enough, like they're liars, they're fakes, they're cheaters, they're frauds. That's how you're making them feel, just by you being you. And so they want to offload that onto you, and that's why they come at you then with the rage, the tantrums, the false accusations, just all of these things that they're offloaded onto you, and you're just thinking, what is this even about? Why are they just randomly doing this, acting in this way? And that's just it. Whatever you see them doing, where they're going all out on something, offloading it onto you, and they're doing it in such an extreme, exaggerated way, it becomes a performance. It's because that's the very thing that they are feeling insecure about in that moment. And potentially, predominantly, most of the time. And that's why they're trying to offload it onto you. That's why they want you to feel that for them. Because that's what they're going through, and they don't like how it makes them feel, so they try and put it onto you. Because they recognize, you're an agreeable, kind, pleasant, friendly person. And, you're willing to look at other people's perspectives. You're very fair-minded in that way. So they see, that they can kind of sway you. They can string you along with this manipulation. They see that that's going to be effective on you. And this is what makes us prime targets for their rage, is that we're kind of primed to believe in it, to go along with it, to see it as though it's our fault. When they get mad, when they blow up, we feel responsible for their emotions, as though it's something we have to attend to. We have to do something about it. Well, no, you just got to look at it like, clearly this is someone who's very insecure. They want to gain power and control over you. They want to get you to follow their lead because they're missing something. They're deficient in something. And they want you to feed into it, into their paradigm, so that they can feel more secure, more confident in that moment. But even then, it's a false sense of confidence that isn't even real, because it comes from you. It comes from manipulating your emotions. It's not something they can generate authentically. But this is why they do it. This is why they blow up. This is why they throw tantrums, because they are on a certain wavelength already by themselves. And you're not even aware of it. And they're just trying to figure out, how can I plant the seed in your mind? How can I get you to think the way that I'm thinking right now? How can I put this in your head so that I don't have to feel alone with these difficult, painful, unpleasant emotions? This is what's going through their minds. And they know that if they can offload it onto you, if they can get you onto that same wavelength, that same frequency, then they don't have to feel so alone. And so this is what they try to do. Initially, it starts by them lying, deceiving you, manipulating. And then if that doesn't work, they get angry. They start to rage at you. They try and force you into submission. And you may get angry too, but with you, it's more of it's defensive. You're trying to protect yourself because, they're coming at you. And they're targeting your identity, your sense of self, by trying to pull you onto something that you're not even interested in, that you don't want anything to do with. I mean, it's their issue, their problem. And they're trying to make it your problem now. Or because they want total dominance. They want to dominate you. They want to put you under their control. Because it benefits them to have you under their control. But they don't want to have any control of themselves. They lack discipline. Why do they lack discipline, and yet they want to be so rigid and controlling with you? Because they see that their time, their energy, their control is far better invested into you than it is into themselves. They don't really get anything out of control of themselves. There's no value in that. A lot of value in controlling and disciplining you, though, because you are a value. You are worth controlling. They're not. But yeah, this is it. This is why they get so mad. This is why they lash out. This is why they rage. This is why they lose their minds. It's because you don't give them the admiration that they crave. that they feel entitled to, because in them, are you able to see me? Let me know in the live chat if you can see me, if you could hear me. I'll wait for someone to respond first, and then I'll continue with the message. Can you hear me now? But can you see me? Or is that not important? Can see and hear you now. Okay. Yeah, no idea what happened there. Completely outside of my control. I mean, there's not really anything I can do about the signal here. I mean, it's practically like a third world country, you know. It's they're just not able to improve the signal. But yeah, you know, as someone was saying in the live chat, you're right. The false self is very important to them. But it's fake, you know, it's just built on a house of cards. There's no foundation or structure to it. It's kind of like overnight, you know, they saw it in someone else before you, in multiple people, and they just picked bits and pieces of certain characters, made it into one false character, and then they just decided, all right, this is who I am from now. And they just expected the world to validate it. And of course, that's our job as a source of supply, is to feed into this illusion and to just view them as a better version of ourselves and so much more. So that's really what they're looking from us. And this is why they hate it when you don't give them the adoration, because this is the whole point. They targeted you out of envy. So they desire to possess what you have. So the last thing they want, it's their worst nightmare, is to get around someone that they envy, that they're trying to bring closer to themselves and own and possess them. The last thing they want is for you to be separate and independent, and you just being the best version of you while they're just sitting back watching you. The whole point is they got around you to cover that up, to compensate for their weaknesses and insecurities. So you're the main person they want to keep down, they want to keep under control. They want to keep you submissive, subservient to them. Because that was the whole point. You were meant to fill in the gaps. You were meant to complete what they were missing inside of themselves. That's the whole reason why they got around you, is to make you submit, be under their control so that they could exploit your characteristics, your resources. So the last thing they want is for you to realize your greatness. You to realize just how much of a benefit you are to them. No, they want you to celebrate all of that in them. They want you to validate in them everything that they are taking from you. Everything that they are mimicking from you. That's your purpose. That's what they want you to do. Because they got around you, because they envied you. They feel like they were missing something that they saw in you. So then they're just thinking, all right, from this moment on, I'm incorporating that as a part of me now. And then they're seeking external validation. And of course, they want to get it from you. They want to get it from the source that they took it from. So they want to take it from you, and then they want you to tell them how great it is, or for you to feel intimidated by it in them. This is what all narcissists do. Because they felt inferior to you, so they want you to see it in them. As now it's not even a part of you anymore, and actually now that's who they are. And you're the one who's missing that, because that was the initial trauma that they saw in you, was that you were the one who was complete. You was the one who had things that they were missing. So now they want to twist it around on you, only this time it's not even real. With you it was real. This is why they hate your authenticity. This is why they don't want you to be connected to yourself. This is why they gaslight your mind into insanity. Because that's the very thing that they not only envy, but they can't ever possess that. That's the one thing they can't have. They can pretend, but it's never going to be real. It's never going to be a part of themselves. And so they just mimic that in you. And they're constantly just scanning, looking for ways to take the essence of who you are. So whatever you're doing in any given moment, they've got to do the opposite of that. They've got to push back against it, rather than encouraging or supporting it, or even just being indifferent to it. They can't even do that. They have to go against it. Because by being negative, that is then how they then extract it from you. But yeah, you know, what really makes them mad, what really drives them crazy is, you know, because they envy you, because they want you so bad, you know, they want every part, every inch of you inside of them. They want to own all of that for themselves. They want to see that in themselves as though that's a part of them now. Because of that, they hate it when you have boundaries. It drives them crazy. And this is really the main thing that you're seeing when they're lashing out at you, when they're throwing these tantrums. It's because they see something that they're missing. They're getting a reflection of their own insecurities, of how they're not enough. And then it's kind of like they're seeing you, and they're like surrounded by big walls, like a glass cage. And they just want to get at you. They want to get in with you. They want to just, it's kind of like they've been starving for weeks. And there's just this great big feast hidden behind these glass walls, and they just want to get in. They want to get as close to it as they possibly can. And just devour it, consume it. And that's you. You are the feast. This is why they're all over you like a rash. And they can't get enough of you. Because, yeah, you got that light. You got their authenticity. You got everything that they're missing inside of you. So this is why they hate it when you set boundaries, when they lose access to you. Because they want to get in with that. They want to get what they're missing. And what they're missing is in you. And yeah, that's how you got to see it. You're like a type of food that they like. But it's like you're out of their reach. They can see you, but they can't get you. And of course, they feel entitled because they view us as extensions of themselves. And you will know that because they try and get you to view them as an extension of you. And so you're now incomplete because you do begin to feel incomplete because they take from you. They try to take the essence of who you are. They drain the life out of you until you're then left seeking from them something that you think is inherently theirs when really no, they took it from you. And even when you go to them to try and get it back, you're really just giving more to them, and then they're given a fraction of what you're giving more of too. So that's all that is. But yeah, I know my sentences are starting to not join up too well. If you could see all of the chaos, all of the dancing and prancing around you, it would make more sense. It starts to muddle up my sentences. So that's how you know when that's happening. But yeah, this is it, you know, when you have the boundaries around you, when you're separate from them, You're in your own essence and just the person that you are. And they can't get to you, they can't abuse you, dominate you, violate you. Ooh, it really angers them, really winds them up. And if it was like a cartoon, their face would probably go red, they'd have steam coming out of their ears. I mean, yeah, sometimes, they pretend to just smile as though, they're unbothered about it. But, think about it. Why do they get around you? How are you able to see that? It's because it's the very thing they're insecure about, and it's what they want you to think, so that you'll keep being open and keep giving rather than being defensive. They just want a continuous extraction. I mean, you're their supply, you're their life force. They want to keep draining out you as much as they can and never stop. They never want it to end, because they just need you. They're missing so much inside of themselves. They just got to get that from you. And this is why when you set boundaries, when you just try and go off and you're just being you, doing what you like to do, doing what makes you happy. Oh, it just really makes them mad. They can't stand it. That's why they want to abuse you, dominate you, because it's like, you got all of this energy. You got all of this, that's who you are, and you're just making them feel so inferior, so just worthless. And they just feel like, it's like you're winding them up. They just want to get at it. They want to get in and just, enjoy it. This is why many of them, they betray you, they steal from you. Oh, they cannot get over the temptations of you. And many of you underestimate, just the process in their minds, that the temptation. This is why they act so outlandishly. This is why they're so obnoxious. This is why they're so reckless, so impulsive. They just can't even control it. Because what you got, they can't get. And they need it so bad. It's like their life force. It's like what makes them feel better about themselves. And this is why, even when they get through your boundaries, it's only just to abuse you at some point, punish you. It's like, how dare you keep that away from me? That's how they think. So yeah, this is it, when you have things that they envy, things that they just want to take from you, because that's the only reason why they get around you, is to take who you are, your identity. But yeah, when you set the boundaries and they can't control it, and you're constantly reminding them of their own weaknesses, and yet at the same time you refuse to tolerate the abuse, and then also, by you going off on your own, by you having those boundaries, you having the support, you having the protection, but you having all of these things, it's exposing them. It reveals to everyone there was nothing wrong with you anyway, you were fine. Because how could you go off and do that? How could you be okay without them when they were the ones who were trying to make everyone think that you were the one who was dependent on them? So how is that possible? And so just by you going off, it exposes them to everyone. It makes them look bad. If you look good, if you feel good, they look bad and they feel bad. This is why it can't even be together. It always has to be something up with you. They have to do something to you so that they can feel good, separate on their own. This is how it works for them. So yeah, this is why they hate it when you move on and thrive without them. Because then it reveals to them that they never had any real power over you. And that's really what the problem was for them at the beginning, is that they saw something outside of their control. which invalidated their delusions of grandeur, their ideas of superiority, of just being perfect, just being ideal, and nothing being wrong with them. They saw something outside of, kind of the boundary of who they are. I say the boundary, but there's really no, they're kind of like boundaryless people, where everything's just an extension of them. But it's kind of like they're always in the pursuit of getting it under their control, and then keeping it under their control. They need to feel like they have power over it, over the very thing that they get envious of, the very thing that they feel like is separate from them. So they have to feel like that's a part of them, like they're enmeshed with it. Like they need to bathe in it, bask in it, and just let it become part of them. When it's separate from them, they can't stand it. This is why they could have never acknowledged, appreciate you as a separate person. You never felt like yourself around them. You never did. You never felt like you were in the essence of who you are. You never felt like you were in your true power. And yet, why did they target you? Why did they want to be around you? Of course, it's because you had things to provide. And yet they could never acknowledge that in you as a part of you. And instead it was all about them. How now suddenly they're this hot commodity, they're like the new big thing, which really is all based off of you. It's all based off of what they saw in you, and yet they give you no credit. There's no acknowledgement of you. And instead they just hate you, despise you. They're so mad at you. And this is how you know, this is how you know that someone is envious of you and secretly deep down just hates themselves and wants to be you. It's when they mimic you, they copy you, and they're going off pretending to be just like you now. And now you can't be you. They can't acknowledge anything about who you really are. Instead they downplay it, they discredit you. They make it out like you're more like them and they're more like you. So now they hate you because of that. This is how you know that deep down they just wanted to be you. And that's really all that it was. They wanted your identity. And this is why, anytime that you try and get back up, anytime that you try to heal, what happens? They go crazy. They just want to kick you back down again, because it becomes a reminder to them, oh, they're just faking it, they're just pretending, and you're actually the real deal. So essentially they set themselves up to be the angry, hateful, envious, resentful people that they are. Because of course, when you take something from someone, and that was the issue, that was what made you feel bad, not good enough, what happens when they regain it? What happens when they get it back? Especially when we're talking about qualities that you can recover, and especially when they're going off acting like that is them, then when you get it back, it exposes them in front of everyone. So they really just set themselves up for failure. It's really just a recipe for disaster, because all they're thinking about is in the moment. Narcissists, psychopaths, it's all short-term gains, instant gratification. They're not thinking about what's happening after. It's just the immediate fulfillment. They're just thinking it's kind of like it's like primal. It's like an animal. It's like, what's going to make them feel better right now in this moment? What are they going to do? How have they got to affect you to get that out of you? It's really just like an animal. It's not really human at all. They're operating from the reptilian brain. And this is why they get so angry, because it's like a predator. It's like, what are they got to do just to get it out of you, just for a part of you to be theirs? And the worst part is, like, you try and tell this to them. You try and get them to be aware of that, to realize Why they want the enmeshment, why they can't acknowledge any separation between you and them, why they've got to be so close, so all over you, hating you and then mimicking you at the same time. You try and explain that to them. You try and get a narcissist to understand that. They don't want to understand it. They don't want to know, because it would just bring up so much shame. They just want to twist it around as though there's something wrong with you. They just make it out like you're bad, so they have to help you. They've got to control you because you're dangerous, you're not safe. It's always the same story every time. Really, it's all just a cover-up. It's to hide the truth that they are missing something. And what they're missing is within you. But yeah, this is why they blow up. This is why they get so angry. I mean, they're really just empty, miserable people. And, this is why it's such a big deal with you. Everything that you are, everything that you have. This is why it's such a concern, it's such a problem to them. You have in the very things that they are missing. It's like they want to conquer that. They want to colonize you. They want to just dominate you and extract that out of you for themselves. And so they no longer have to acknowledge that in you. And this is really what they do. And yeah, it's your characteristics. It's just your authentic personality. It's the essence of who you are. Perhaps your resources as well. They're empty, they need fuel, they need emotions, reaction, supply. And that all comes from you. You're like this emotional generator. And, in their minds, it's like, yeah, just keep it ticking. Let's just keep this, I'm liking this. Yeah, you just keep it running. Keep it flowing, And they just don't ever want it to stop. And everything they do, the anger, the rage, it's all a part of, how do I get this to keep moving? How do I just keep it going? Because, it's making them feel so good. It's regulating them. It's boosting their fragile self-esteem. It's feeding their ego. It's sustaining their false reality. This generator that you have within yourself. And so they just want to keep it going. And they just think, what buttons have I got to push to keep it moving? To keep it activated. So it can keep fueling me and keep making me feel good. When otherwise they would just feel like nothing. Which of course is really how they feel deep down. But another part of it is the rage is also, which, it typically comes after the manipulation. If you don't follow the manipulation, because it kind of triggers them to reflect on why they're doing it. Narcissists, they're more like animals rather than human. They don't want to think about the process. They don't want to think about why they need it. They just want to get at it, just have it. And they just want to shift the blame onto you and see it as though, something's wrong with you now. You're weak, you're stupid, because they got at you and they extracted it out of you. That's how they want to look at it. They don't want to see it in themselves as though they were weak, they were empty, they were broken, they were corrupt, and that's why they had to extract it out of you. They don't want to look at it that way. Remember, it's all a fantasy, it's all a delusion. So they just want to see things a certain way, just whatever makes them feel more comfortable in their minds, whatever makes them feel better. Because pretty much they're suffering from depression. They're miserable, they're depressed, they're not happy with themselves. So all they're thinking about is how do they get away from pain and towards pleasure. This is why they're like merchants of pain. If you could summarize a narcissist in one word, it's just pain. They're all just pain. They're just hurtful, harmful. Because they're in pain. because they're not happy with themselves. They don't like themselves. That's why they're in pain. And that's why when you get around them, it's a very painful experience. Because otherwise, if they weren't in pain, they wouldn't want you to be going through that, and they'd actually be very sensitive to it. The reason why they're not sensitive to it at all is because they're in extreme pain themselves. They're in such severe pain that many of you can't even comprehend it. I mean, the only reason why they just don't put themselves out of their misery and just end their own lives, it's only because they've got you or someone else. It's only because they've got supply. I'm telling you, most of these narcissists, you put them on a deserted island on their own, even just for 1 week without any people, they would just take themselves out. They wouldn't find any point in living anymore because they don't like themselves. Their whole purpose, their whole mission in this life is to just seek and extract outside of themselves. They're predators. And, you know, that's not to say that we don't ever need anything outside of ourselves. I mean, of course we do. Even people, yeah, of course we need like interaction sometimes. But there's a difference. Because, as an example, with myself, when I'm interacting with someone, typically, you know, there's got to be an exchange of energy. And with the type of person that I am, someone who's, you know, pretty codependent, I'm going to be giving out so much more than whatever I'm getting back in exchange. So I'm always going to be at a loss by the end of it. And typically, any sort of interaction with anyone, it depletes me. It leaves me feeling tired afterwards. By the end of the day, my body is just full of so many aches and pains. I just feel so exhausted at the end of every day because I'm giving out so much of myself to other people who, you know, they don't have so much of themselves, they don't want so much of themselves. And so, yeah, you know, in any interaction, there's always going to be an exchange. It's just when you're dealing with narcissistic people, psychopaths, what happens with them is that they're taking far more than anything that they're given. And typically all they really have to give is negative anyway. Everything they do is a manipulation. Everything. It's all they can do. All they can think about is, what have I got to do? What have I got to say to just get more from you? And that's all they're ever thinking about. That's all that they're ever doing. They're never thinking, what can I give? What can I share with this person without expecting anything back? Anytime that they do anything, it's to get something from you. And so, if you've been surrounded by toxic, narcissistic people your entire life, as many people have, you've never really experienced an authentic interaction where someone is just there and it's kind of like they're given without expecting. And it is a relatively equal exchange, it's balanced. Many of you may never have experienced that. And, you know, I can tell you it's extremely rare that I've ever been around anyone and it's like I was receiving just as much, if not more, than what I was giving out. It's extremely rare that I've ever experienced that. And even when I did experience that, it just made me want to go back and give a little more. You know, with the codependent personality that I have, I can't feel comfortable. I can't feel at rest knowing that I've taken more than what I've given out. Well, it's actually the opposite for these narcissists. And of course, it's very difficult for us to put ourselves in their shoes. But if it's an equal exchange, they feel like they've lost out. You know, they've got to completely dominate you, get you to submit, because in their minds, they're really something. They have these delusions of grandeur. In their minds, they're special. They're important. They feel justified to abuse, to exploit you. Because in their minds, they're perfect. They're delusional. If they genuinely believe that they were not perfect, and if they could actually recognize their own flaws or weaknesses, then they would be more sound-minded. And then they wouldn't feel so entitled to abuse, to exploit you. It's because they're just delusional, they're crazy. And yet, I find it kind of funny in a way. It's like, some people think, they love themselves, they think they're perfect. And you look at them, when you really get to know them, it's like, what? They really ain't all that. They're really not that special. I mean, yeah, some narcissists, they are rather attractive and they can be quite successful. But even then, many of them are frauds. And they're just manipulators. They just rob people. So they're really not anything special at all. And what's really special are their victims. And perhaps this is why they're so insecure. This is why they need external validation all the time. They need supply. It's because deep down they know that. They're very insecure about themselves. They don't like themselves very much. And this is why it's always such a fight for them. Their reactions are so extreme. It's either just domination or nothing. Just all of the time. They have to dominate you, suffocate, contain you, own you. Just get you within their clutches, within their grasp. Because in their minds, they're telling themselves a story. Since they've seen you, they felt intimidated by you. And then because of the separation, because of you just being your own person and your own sense of individuality, they then felt separate. They then felt worthless in comparison to you. And that's why they then turned against you. That's why they then devalued you. And they wanted to control you for that reason. They have to control this thing that they get envious of. Because if it gets away, it could destroy them. It could destroy their lies and illusions. And of course, they do not want that to happen. So that's why they want to keep you under their control. This is why they have to keep tabs on you. Because you're not making them feel too good about themselves. When you're separate. Thank you for the donation and thank the Lord. Glad you're enjoying the content. But yeah, I do like the park here. It's nice. I enjoy the nature. But I will say I'm really looking forward to just getting out of this country now. I mean, I don't feel like I'm losing anything. I mean, the connection's really bad here wherever I go. The energy's always kind of off and it just doesn't make me feel good. So I'm kind of happy that I'm leaving. And, coming out to this park the day before I fly out tomorrow, I think it's pretty good for me because it's a reminder. It reminds me, there's really no benefit for me here. I'm not really gaining anything. I've noticed a steady decline in my income. It's not really getting any better while I'm here. Even with all the extra efforts that I'm making. And, the two most important things in my life are not getting any better here. Or actually, no, I should say the three most important things in my life. Which, of course, it's got to be myself. I can't really do anything without myself being in tip-top condition. So my mental health, my physical health is very important to me. And, after that, number two has to be my business. The Narc Survivor YouTube channel. That has to be the second most important thing to me. followed by, of course, number 3, which is Nala. And, you know, I feel like my mental health, my physical health, it's much better somewhere else. It's better in Malaysia. It's even better in Britain. And my YouTube channel, well, as many of you know, it began and it was incorporated in Britain. So, yeah, you know, in many ways, I have Britain to thank. You know, I never thought I'd say that, but it's kind of true, innit? You know, without being able to establish it there. And then there's Nala. Nala's in Malaysia. So yeah, there's really no benefit for me here. But that being said, you know, I have enjoyed exploring. It's all right for a short time, but I have to put the focus back on what's important to me. And of course, you know, to some degree, we got to put ourselves first. We're not going to be good to anyone or anything, you know, unless we're focused on ourselves, our mental health, our physical health. If you don't take care of yourself first, you're not going to be good for anyone. And I would say that this is one of the biggest mistakes that narcissists make, is that they put the focus on themselves, but then they need us more than they need themselves. So in many ways, they should put more focus on us, on our health, our condition, so that we can continue supplying them. But no, they just end up kicking a horse when it's down. But yeah, it all starts with you first. It can start with you and it can start with God. Make that important to you. And followed by that, it's got to be, you know, your purpose, but then also your purpose needs to sustain you. So for me, you know, I got my Narc Survivor channel. I've got what I do on here. And you know, that's my purpose, that's what sustains me. That's what I give back to the world. And then you've got to have a companion. And for me, you know, that's my cat, that's my pet, Nala. So, yeah, that's how I look at it. And I think it's good, you know, to see things in that way. But yeah, let me know if you've got any thoughts about this in the comment section, or in the live chat rather. James Pendleton says, when I was gang stalked, it was intense and non-stop. They are rejects that get off by stalking innocent people. Well, yeah, that's just it, you know, they get off on your innocence. That's why they target you, because they are corrupt. And you just think, you know, what does a corrupt person want? Well, what are they missing? They're missing innocence, purity. And of course, they get that from you by targeting you. But yeah, I will say, you know, of course, they're absolute losers. I mean, what kind of a person is going to go around stalking and harassing someone? Who in the world would do that? And you know, if any of you were doing that, I would tell you, that's not the right thing to do. That's not something a normal, healthy person does. We don't stalk or harass anyone. But this is what these people do because they're mentally ill. They're messed up in the mind. They don't like themselves. They don't like their lives. They're just not happy with anything. And they just see it as though something outside of them, you, could complete them. And so that's why they target you, because they don't want to fix themselves. And they think so lowly of themselves that they see it as though their time and energy is better invested into you rather than into themselves. So they already from the start, they're just saying that you are more valuable than they are. Because why would they invest all of this energy into you, into something that they claim to hate so much? Why give it to you? Why not just put it on themselves? And that's just it. But yeah, I don't get it, you know. I don't even understand how they, I do to some degree, but it's just baffling to me how they create these groups, because I wonder, who in the right mind would want to associate with someone who's a part of a gang stalking network? And that's just it. Who in the right mind would want to do that? Of course, they're not in the right mind. They're not thinking clearly. They've just got all of these fantasies of what they want to be, you know, they're seeking power. And they see it as though they can get that through you. And so this is what they do. But again, no matter what they do to you, it's not going to change anything. They're still going to be broken, miserable people. And yeah, that's never going to change. People wonder, when will they get their karma? I mean, the fact that they actually, in the mind, got themselves to the point where they then acted this stuff out in person, that should tell you more than anything else that they've been getting their karma for a very long time. Because just think about how messed up in the mind someone's got to be, how screwed up to get to that point where it then leads to them acting in behaviors. Clearly, they must be going through a lot. If you're finding this video helpful so far, give it a thumbs up. Thank you. Karen Aiken says, what country are you in? I am in the Philippines at the moment. We're flying out tomorrow. Back to Sinala. Everyone's saying, come to the USA. Oh, people have been asking me for a long time. For years, I always see the comments. People telling me I can stay in their home and everything. But for me, you know, I'm trying to get away from, you know, too much of like the Matrix and consumerism. I just being around too many people. I wouldn't mind going somewhere like South America or Jamaica. Because from what I heard, you know, it's a very different kind of place. So yeah, that's where I'd like to go. Shreknocrat US says, W2EF is that accent. I mean, you're a bit late with that already for so many months, perhaps over a year now. So many people, they always critique my accent and my voice and make it out like it's all of these other different cultures and countries, but no, it's just one accent. I'm from Wales in Britain. So, you know, I can understand that a lot of the trolls on the live chat maybe having an identity crisis because, you know, I'm very much in my own reality. I don't band together to like different groups, gang stalking and all that. But yeah, of course, you know, I mean, anyone can tell that I have a British accent. It doesn't take a genius to figure that out. So it's kind of, you kind of just exposing yourself by even asking that question. I don't know if you're referring to, because there's, as I mentioned, there's a lot of like distractions here, you know, dealing like with harassment and stuff. You may be referring to stress. Stress can affect the person's voice, yes. It doesn't necessarily change an accent. So it may just be a reflection of your own lack of education, perhaps, a lack of awareness. But yeah, it always seems to be a hot topic. Like anytime I do a live video, even though at this point I must have done like over 2,000 live videos at this point, like over like the past nearly 5 years now. But all of a sudden, over the past year, there's like hundreds of different accounts coming into the live chats, asking about my accent, and then always making it out to be something else other than what it is. Even though anyone in the world can tell it's a British accent. I mean, you know, unless you've like lived under a rock your whole life and you've never had any sort of experience. But you know, that's how it is. The trolls are always looking for ways to try and dissect, dismantle a person's identity. So they'll pick a certain part out of you and they'll be like, you know, try and gaslight you. They'll make you think that blue is green, down is up, left is right, to just screw your whole mind up. And yeah, they want to get you, you know, they want to bait you in, they want to anger you. They want you to get angry and start trying to prove simple things because they love it, you know, when they can get you angry about reality, about something that just it should be just clear as day, you know, that's true. They want to get you worked up about it because that's how it is for them. They don't like reality. It's against them. So everything has to be like questionable. When no, it's like completely obvious. And this is how they end up exposing themselves, because it's some of the most stupidest things sometimes. It's like something as dumb as like even a child could figure it out. It's like, what color are these leaves? Are they blue? It's like that's how obvious they make it sometimes. And they really just expose themselves, because any normal person is going to be able to figure that out. It's like common sense. But yeah, it's just a reflection of their own identity crisis. Miss Catherine Love said the whole life purpose is having power over others. It is. Always having power over others, but never having power over themselves. That's never something that they manage to achieve. They never manage to master that. And, you know, they look at it like, what's the point? Having power to them is just garbage. You know, they see that they're not even worth anything. So they see it as though it's much better having power over you, rather than wasting their time trying to master themselves. And this is why, you know, they have an arrested emotional development, they're very immature. They act in such childish ways for that reason, because they never saw it as What is the purpose in trying to master themselves, having any sort of power or control of themselves? They never saw themselves as anything valuable. They just relied on manipulation. Essentially, they're just like little kids in a fantasy world of their own making, and they never want to leave. They never want to leave Neverland. That's really what it is, because they don't like reality. In reality, they're no good, they're nothing special. And that's why they cling to you, because they use you to support this fantasy. That's what it's designed to do. It's really sad when you think about it. All of these lies, manipulations, orchestrations, just so that the little kid that they are deep down can continue living in this make-believe world where there's something greater than what they really are. When you're actually the real deal. You actually are something special for real. Of course, you'd have to be able to sustain someone like that. You've got to be something special to be able to sustain them. But yeah, as you can see, I'm out of this park today. It was raining earlier, but now the sun is shining. And, that's one good thing. And that's how we've got to look at it from this point on, now that we can't rely on people so much. Because people are easily manipulated, they easily sell their souls. So now we've got to start relying more on nature and even machines. Because honestly, most people these days, they are becoming obsolete. They just can't compete anymore. And this is the problem with so many of us, is that we rely on people and they just inevitably fall short. And that's just it with so many of you, is that your pain comes from relying on certain people too much. And they just could not meet your expectations, even though they were very basic requirements. They couldn't even fulfill that. So we got to stop relying on people. Start relying on ourselves, on God, nature, the universe, machines. Because by doing that, it's going to make life a lot easier for you. And, most people these days, you can't trust them. You can't do anything with them. Of course, I say most people. But even though I say most people, it doesn't mean that the first person we see who appears to be different for a few seconds, that we then have to invest our entire lives into them. Of course not. It has to be proven over time. Yes, there may be genuine people out there, but let it be proven over time. I mean, it's going to take at least a few months, maybe 1 year, until you really know what you're dealing with. So with anything, we've got to give it time. But yeah, there could be genuine people out there. Of course there will be, but they are few and far between. But yeah, that's the message for this video. And some news for you is that I am leaving the Philippines tomorrow. I am flying out. I got my flight booked. I've got my new luggage and I'm ready to go. And honestly, I'm just looking forward to, just getting back to the work, getting back to my mission and my purpose, helping people to grow, evolve. Because that's really what I'm here to do. And you know, here it's just a lot of like childish things. You know, a lot of people that I come across, they're mostly just like kids, and just like, you know, they always just need to find any excuse to just giggle and just mess around. And you know, me, I'm more of an adult. I'm more about focusing on the mission, focusing on the purpose, focusing on the grind. And that's what is important to me. But here, you know, as you may see, there's a lot of immaturity. There's a lot of people who just haven't grown up. And that's why, you know, it's kind of difficult for me to conduct my work here. But that's why I'm looking forward to just getting out of here. And just being in a more peaceful place. Because, you know, of course, Malaysia isn't perfect, but they're not that bad here. They're not, you know, most of them aren't that immature. You know, they're not like big kids in like adult bodies kind of thing. So, you know, I'm looking forward to that. But, you know, it does seem to be a common theme. One thing that I've learned, one thing that I've experienced here is that, you know, most of the people here, they kind of just like, they're just like little kids in adult bodies, and they're just constantly seeking approval, reassurance, and I just feel like I'm their dad. And it's like everyone that I come across, wherever I go. And it's like they just constantly need me to step up and be the man. You know, for like strangers, people that I don't even know. It's kind of pathetic, but it's how it is. But at least in Malaysia, I do feel more separation. You know, I don't feel like I'm constantly having to be in charge. I constantly have to help everyone, make them feel better. I mean, it's really sad. It really is, I mean. But this is how it is. And I'm sure, you know, this is how many of you feel with the narcissist that you've been dealing with. Got a cat that just decided to join me here. Oh, the camera's on the opposite way. Again, I'm looking forward to getting back to Nala as well. But yeah, it's really sad, you know. All I can really feel is sadness, you know, when I see people and it's like, you've lived this long and you're still just a little kid. You just look like an adult. It just makes me feel like giving up on humanity. It really does. Like they can't even manage themselves. It's really sad. Of course, you know, I want to help them. I want to like try and teach them things like responsibility, self-awareness. But it just feels impossible. It just feels like we just can't. And yeah, it's just really sad. But you know, I'm not ready to be. I never want to be some grown adults, parents who just regulate everything for them, that they can't even regulate within their own bodies. I never want to take on that role. You know, none of us can do that. It's something they have to figure out on themselves. You know, it's not something we can do. So, yeah, that's what I want to leave you with. And yes, Geneva, I know there's a lot of trolls on the live chat. They're all seeking reactions. They're all just unable to regulate, to manage their own bodies, their own minds, and it's really sad. And as for us, of course, it's the opposite. We just pour into them. We just give them everything that we have. We try and make them feel better, but it's never enough. You will never get to that point where you can help them. It's not like you could just hold them in your arms, just rock them back and forth and tell them stories, pacify them. And then suddenly they're going to get up and they can be a man or a real woman. And then they can lead their own lives. It's never going to be a reality for them. They're always just going to be kids. That's how they're always going to be. And really, that's why they're so angry. That's why they rage. That's why they throw tantrums. Because they're really just kids who want to continue living in a fantasy. They never want to grow up. That's really what this comes down to. They don't want to be in reality. And if you want to let them stay in fantasy, if you want to let them play with their toy, they get mad at you. That's what it is. But they try and twist it around on you. They try and make it out like you're not responsible, you're living in a fantasy, and you're the one who needs to grow up. You need to come back to reality. And the reality is you submitting and just serving them. And you're not doing your job. You're not doing what you should be doing. So they want to twist it around on you. But yeah, that's what I want to leave you with. But yeah, also check out the video I posted yesterday. The narcissist made a huge mistake and doesn't realize this about you. Check it out. It's a very important message. Very powerful video. And yeah, I mean, just be careful. You got to go no contact around these people because they need an endless, permanent, indefinite source of supply to keep them in a fantasy. And that could be you. Don't let that be you. Be independent, be separate. You're not a part of them, you're not conjoined twins. Separate yourself from them, recognize your separation. It's great for them, to be all up in you and to have you around them. That's perfect for them because they're not good enough on their own. But for you, it's bad. It takes away from you. It depletes you. You're much better off on your own. You're just believing in a lie. You're believing in a fantasy. So yeah, I hope that helps. And, just exercise your no contact as much as you can. They are a disease that cannot be helped, cannot be fixed. You cannot help them. But yeah, if you found this video helpful, hit the thumbs up. Let's work together to get it out there for those who need it. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Let's start a conversation together, a discussion. If you're new here, subscribe. Click on notifications so that you will be notified when I go live or when I upload a new video. If you would like guidance to support your healing journey, book a one-on-one with me today by going to narcsurvivor.co.uk. And if you would like to help support the channel, you can donate by going to paypal.me/narcsurvivor. And also check out my Instagram for more content. Follow me, it is Narc Survivor YouTube. So plenty of resources there until I go live again. Thank you all for joining me, and I will talk to you soon.